Welcome to a special and quick edition of Rocky Top Wrestling Review. We are looking at Wrestlemania, and we are looking at, it's only, 30 minutes away until the pre-show. The pre-show starts at 5 p.m. So if you were following Rocky Top Wrestling, Drunken Wrestling on Twitter earlier, that's at rTw, we went on the Xbox 360. We went WWE 2K15, the video game, and what we did was we put every one of the games, or every one of the matches here tonight at WrestleMania 31 on the game to see who would win on the outcome. We did it totally computerized. So here's the winners at WWE 2K15 as they chose it. The first match we put in was the women's tag team match. That's AJ Lee and Paige versus the Bella Twins. The Xbox 360 picked AJ Lee and Paige to win the match. The next match that we put in there was the awesome return of The Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt. And in this match, it was very surprising to us, but the Xbox picked Bray Wyatt to win the match very decisively against The Undertaker. Our next encounter was Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins, and this one liked Randy Orton over Seth Rollins. The next match we put in there was the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. It came down to the Big Show versus The Miz. Now, of course, with the Xbox 360 and with WWE 2K15, we could not set it up like a normal Battle Royal. We actually had to set it up like a Royal Rumble. We used the 20 participants. There were 3 participants that were not able to be in it, Heath Slater being one of them, because we don't have him on our Xbox game. But it came down to the Big Show versus Mike the Miz, with Mike the Miz winning the Battle Royal, the Andre the Giant over the top rope Battle Royal. The ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. This match was also a good match. Again, capabilities is only allowed to have 6 competitors versus the 7 competitors that are in this match. Because Stardust is not officially in the game as Stardust, we decided that we would take him out of this match. And then the winner of the match ended up being Dolph Ziggler. So Dolph Ziggler ends up walking away with the Intercontinental Championship. Another match we put in there, of course, was the Icon Sting versus the Game Triple H. In this match, Sting got his WrestleMania moment over Triple H. And the final match that we were able to put in there was Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. I know some of you might remember the tag team match. It's not in there. It doesn't have capabilities to be in there. If it's not good enough for the game, it's not good enough for us to review here. So anyway, the winner of the main event against Brock Lesnar, the WWE Heavyweight Champion, and Roman Reigns, surprisingly, the Xbox picked the new WWE Heavyweight Champion, Roman Reigns. We'll be right back. Hope everybody enjoys the show. Rocky Top Wrestling Drunken Wrestling Review returns with its WrestleMania edition. First, we're going to look at the Hall of Fame. Then we're going to review WrestleMania. Hope everybody looks forward to it. We are here. Thanks a lot. Goodbye. Oh my goodness, here we go. The end of WrestleMania has just happened. It is officially 11:03 p.m. according to my computer here. WrestleMania just ended. Wow. What an event. I'll tell you, the first match, I missed the tag team match. I was at the grocery store. But after that, I was there, saw the Battle Royal. You know, it was funny, the Xbox actually predicted The Miz and Big Show finishing up the Battle Royal, which was funny because, you know, it was Miz Dowling of the Big Show, and I was actually pretty happy. I'm not a Big Show fan. I think, you know, he is past his prime, just like he said at the Hall of Fame ceremony that yes, the guys that he broke into business with are now in the Hall of Fame, and to me the Battle Royal though it was nice for him to win. He deserved the win. When he got brought in, he was Andre the Giant's son, and the storyline aspect. So it was cool that he won that match. Do I want to see him get a title run? Do I want to see him on Monday Night Raw every week? No. But I think it was pretty cool that he got that at the WrestleMania event where he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So after that, we've got our opening match, our ladder match with Daniel Bryan. Winning the ladder match, winning the Intercontinental Championship. Good match. Some pretty good spots. Dean Ambrose obviously had the spot of the night, going through that ladder, getting his body curled up the way he did. So whether he was really hurt or not, another thing. But really good match. Definitely a good way to start WrestleMania. The next match, I thought was either going to be the first or second match of the night, with Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. And as the match went on, it was slow paced. It was a good classic professional wrestling match. Had some pretty good spots in it. And like I said, if Randy Orton wins, then Seth Rollins wins at the end of the night. Spoiler alert. So anyway, good match on Randy Orton and Seth Rollins' part. Really nice spots. The RKO at the end off the curb stomp was phenomenal. There's nothing but praise for what that was and how it was produced and how it was executed. Phenomenal. After that, we had the big match between Sting and Triple H. The WWE versus the WCW, 14 or 15 years way too late. I liked the match. I thought the match was good. It had good psychology. It had some really cool spots, man. When you have the DX come down, the DX, that sounds like the Walmart. Welcome to Tennessee. But anyway, when you have D-Generation X come down, and, it's the Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, and X-Pac version, the Attitude Era version, the version during the war. You have those guys come down to help interfere, and then all of a sudden they're matched up with the NWO, Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall. Wow. That, honestly, I was off of my couch, jumping up and down. I thought this was a huge angle. It was so fun. I actually had tweeted at one point that, all this match needs is Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair to come on down to complete the war. And Shawn Michaels did come down. He Sweet Chin Music Sting. Ric Flair never showed up down there, but honestly, it was a cool way to have the match happen. It was a cool way to get the fans really involved, especially the longtime fans such as myself. The only thing I really didn't like was the fact, I don't care that Triple H went over. I don't care if Sting would have gone over. That part didn't, matter. To me, what bothered me, though, what really kind of annoyed me was the fact that the guys shook hands. I really feel like the shaking of the hands between Triple H and Sting should have been backstage. It should have been off camera. What's this do now for the story? Sting's been interfering for months since Survivor Series to defeat the Authority. And now all of a sudden he's shaking hands with Triple H, and I don't know. That to me was a bad ending. The shaking of the hands, but before that the match was great. Now let's go in. We had the intermission or the concert or whatever it was, and then your next match was Cena and Rusev. Cena and Rusev, awesome, great match again. Psychology wise, really good. Lana throwing her shoes was a little bit confusing until the ending where Cena threw Rusev into Lana and Lana fell off the ring. So obviously she would have broken her ankle if she would have had those high heels on. So that at that point it made sense. No, not a storyline made sense, but still. So up to this point, I had a really good time watching WrestleMania. I had the matches were fun, the stories were good. Nothing overwhelming. And then you walked into the Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt match. The intros lack a lot when there's lighting. The sun was out in California, so, there's nothing that I guess Vincent Kennedy McMahon could do. I know he defeated God at one point, but I guess he could not defeat the sun. So the intros lacked a little bit. Undertaker looked a lot better than he has, and I think the whole fact that his head wasn't completely shaved with that mohawk, I think that he had hair on his head actually made him look a little bit younger than what he normally is perceived, or what he has looked like the last couple of seasons or couple years. The match was okay. It was nothing huge. It was a good spot when Bray did that his backwards flip thing, and then Undertaker set up and stared at him. Undertaker winning was very surprising because I really don't understand why. I don't think Undertaker needs to win at this point. He's lost to Brock, so the streak's over. Bray could have really used that extra, that extra bump for winning this match. But anyway, decent match. Match of the night. No, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Triple H, Undertaker, Edge, Undertaker, Randy Orton. No. That part of Undertaker's career is over, and he doesn't need to win anymore. So why he beat Bray, I'm not sure. I hope it doesn't. I hope, if he's at WrestleMania 32 and he's against the younger guy, I hope he doesn't win. He needs to ride off in the sunset like his song says. So anyway, the main event, Brock versus Roman. They did a lot of things to make Roman look strong. With the bloody cheek of Brock, the bloody eye of Brock, the bloody lip of Brock, later on the bloody head of Brock. They did everything they could to make Roman look strong. The fans still really didn't support Roman the way that they wanted them to. But the match was decent. It seemed like Brock sold everything really well. Roman sold everything really well. The only thing that wasn't really sold very well was the cashing in of the Money in the Bank. I don't know. Maybe I don't know the rules as well. Of course, who knows the rules in WWE anyway. But the 30-day, policy of, not defending the title, you're supposed to lose the belt. They skipped that. And with Money in the Bank, from what I always understood was the match has to be over and then another match starts. So for him to make it a three-way match and then him to just come in and be able to beat Roman didn't make a lot of sense. Didn't sell me very well on it. But, anyway, it happened. I guess the good thing is Roman Reigns isn't the world champion. And now with Seth Rollins, you have some other potential title matches, with Randy Orton, who already beat him in the middle, earlier in the night. So there's a potential match. You've got a potential rematch with Roman Reigns. You have a potential rematch with Brock Lesnar. So there's plenty of opportunity there. Let's see what WWE does. I'm thinking with the Brock's limited schedule, he disappears for a while, and you have Seth being able to carry that title for a little bit while he goes against all these other guys. So there's my WrestleMania recap immediately after. I'm sure tomorrow I will film another as I watch it a little bit more in depth and take it apart and take notes. So hope you guys enjoyed tonight. It's WrestleMania weekend, so there's always something to enjoy. I will see you guys again tomorrow, and we'll be putting on these together. Thanks a lot. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody to Rocky Top Wrestling Drunken Wrestling Review WrestleMania Weekend Edition. WrestleMania Weekend is now officially over as it is Monday. Let's go back to Saturday, look at the Hall of Fame. Just a real quick review of the Hall of Fame because that show was not quick at all. That was the longest Hall of Fame I think I've ever watched, but surprisingly enough, very entertaining. I was pleasantly surprised by Rikishi. Last time I saw Rikishi on any WWE TV was at Hall of Fame where he did for Yokozuna, his cousin. That was very drawn out. This one was a little drawn out by Rikishi, but all in all, it was actually really good. I was shocked by him not mentioning Scotty 2 Hotty and by him not mentioning the other two cool guy, what's his name? Scotty 2 Hotty and Grandmaster Sexay. How could I forget Grandmaster Sexay? But and I guess Scotty took offense to it as well, as Scotty 2 Hotty on his Twitter page actually went out and said, hey, I guess you forgot about that part in your career. And really, without Too Cool, I couldn't see Rikishi getting into the Hall of Fame. Another Hall of Famer, which really seemed very humbled in his speech, was Larry Zbyszko. I will say, I'll toot my own horn here, as I usually do. But Larry Zbyszko, actually, there was a point in time in Rocky Top Wrestling where we were sending out T-shirts with the Rocky Top Wrestling logo when we were running shows. And the idea was we'd send the T-shirt out to legends, and they would send us a picture of themselves in that T-shirt. And then what we would do is we'd get the picture printed, and we'd send them multiple pictures. And depending on how many pictures we sent them, we would send them money to autograph the pictures. We did that with guys like Jimmy Superfly Snuka, Jake the Snake Roberts, who else? Jimmy the Boogie Woogie Man Valiant, and Lanny Poffo, actually, Larry Zbyszko as well. Larry, I will tell you, without disclosing the deals that I sent to everybody else, Larry, I sent him the money that I usually sent for 10 autographs. And he called me after he got the money, and of course, he said, he appreciated it, and he signed the pictures. And then he told me that anytime I wanted more pictures reprinted and autographed, to just go ahead and print them, send them to him, self-addressed stamped envelope to return back, and he'd sign them for free. So Larry Zbyszko, really great guy. He went out of his way for us with Rocky Top Wrestling, actually, not only doing the pictures for free, but at the same time, he called me continuously for like 2 or 3 weeks, talking to me about he was working on some kind of deal with Glacier that he invited me to be part of. He would sit there and we would talk about professional wrestling. He talked about some things with Vince McMahon and the WWE, things he liked, things he didn't like, things that he thought would always keep him out of the WWE Hall of Fame. But here he was in the Hall of Fame, very humbled to have Bruno Sammartino there, and really it seemed like he had not talked to Bruno in a while because he just didn't understand why Bruno had done this for him and gave him this great avenue, gave him this opportunity for a great career. But really good to see Larry Zbyszko out there. Another surprise I thought for the Hall of Fame, the Bushwhackers. Yes, I am anti-Bushwhacker in the Hall of Fame. I think there's so many other teams that should be there before them. But seeing the health of Butch, now I'm pretty happy that the Bushwhackers did get into the Hall of Fame sooner than later, because it does seem like Butch's health is bad, but the energy, man, that the Bushwhackers had up there, so fun. Like, everything that made them fun in wrestling as the Bushwhackers, Butch just, man, he was phenomenal. I've heard Luke on podcasts, and I don't enjoy his interviews. Butch had me entertained the entire time he was up there, so that was phenomenal. Alundra Blaze coming back to the WWE, Medusa Michelli, as she was known in the AWA, Medusa later on in WCW. It was nice to see her return home. It was also a nice sentiment for her to bring the Women's Championship back out of the trash can. That segment went a little long with the trash can thing, but all in all, I really thought that was pretty cool that she would do that, and the WWE allowed her into the Hall of Fame, as well as her bringing that title back. So I'm sure that title will end up in the Hall of Fame as well when they do get one. But at least hopefully it'll be on display at the WrestleMania accesses from this point on. The other Hall of Famers that we had, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger was there. in the celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame. Whatever, the celebrity wing. It's WWE rubs these guys back, and obviously with Triple H's entrance and the entire Hall of Fame being sponsored by the new Terminator movie, these celebrities rub the WWE rub the WWE's back. So whatever. The other big ones, of course, Connor, the Crusher, getting into the Warrior Award. Dana Warrior coming out there and doing her little speech. Very nice, to look back at the Ultimate Warrior in memory of, as well as she showed a little personality. Her shot at Hulk Hogan, I wasn't real sure about. She said it was a joke. Obviously, I don't feel like any joke is there without some kind of merit. So, how does she really feel about the Hulkster? Who knows? I guess we won't know until we see a picture of them together, smiling and hugging backstage to show there is no real true heat. But anyway, you had that. You also had the Japanese star Fujinami getting into the Hall of Fame, and his speech was exactly what it should have been, short and sweet. Ric Flair, of course, inducting him. I remember back when he beat Ric Flair for that championship. It was a low point in WCW, time frame history. That was that Jim Herd era. But it is what it is. Fujinami was a big star in Japan, so he deserved to be there as well. Because really, the WWE Hall of Fame has become a pro wrestling, a sports entertainment Hall of Fame, and not just the WWE. Today with Larry Zbyszko going in, but in the past with Vern Gagne and other stars from the AWA as well as the NWA have gone in. Of course, that brings us to our two headliners. Our first headliner, the Macho Man, Randy Savage. Woo, yeah! Lanny Poffo's speech, it was what Lanny wanted it to be. It was poetry. It had Lanny's spin and twist on it. I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. As I break the microphone, I was absolutely shocked that Lanny Poffo did not do a Randy Savage impression, because really every time you ever hear Lanny Poffo nowadays and he talks about his brother, he does an impression of Randy Savage. So I was really shocked that Lanny didn't do that, but it was nice to see Hogan presenting it as well as Lanny accepting it. It's good to have Randy Savage home in the WWE and home in the Hall of Fame. And then, of course, that brings us to Too Sweet, the NWO, Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash, definitely a Hall of Fame career. What he's done in professional wrestling. Had a really nice speech. Again, another guy that seemed really humbled when it came to the presentation. I'll be glad, though, when X-Pac gets in next year and then Triple H can get in the following year, and we can be done with these click reunions at the end of every one of these things. But Kevin Nash, really cool to get in. I still question why Kevin Nash, the name Kevin Nash, got in, but the name Scott Hall did not get in. It was Razor Ramon. So that, to me, that's just a little odd. Now, I know Kevin kind of touched on it. He said, well, the name game of, whether it's Diesel or Kevin Nash, they're the same person. And I totally understand that, and I get that. But then, I question, why did they present it to Razor Ramon and not Scott Hall? So, I thought, honestly, that they were going to do, after they did Razor, I thought that they were going to put Diesel in this year. And then in a year or two, then they would go in again as Kevin Nash and Scott Hall as the NWO. But, it is what it is. The Hall of Fame, it went like 4 hours. It went as long as WrestleMania. But a really good show, something I thoroughly enjoyed. I always look forward to the Hall of Fame. Hopefully the Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express, Jim Cornette, Ravishing Rick Rude, and Ivan Koloff will be getting in there sooner than later, because I'd like to see all those guys except for Rick Rude, of course, can still do the speech. So I'd like to have all those guys go in. Ivan Koloff, besides Sean Stasiak, I'm sorry, not Sean Stasiak, Sean Stasiak's dad. Is it Stu Stasiak? Stan the Man Stasiak. Sorry, Stan the Man Stasiak. Besides Stan the Man Stasiak, Ivan Koloff is the only former WWE World Heavyweight Champion of the non-modern era that is not in the Hall of Fame. I think to go from all the way from Buddy Rogers, you can go all the way up until The Undertaker first wins the championship. The Undertaker is the, besides Ivan Koloff and Stan the Man, Undertaker is now the youngest, oldest person to not be in the WWE Hall of Fame that's held the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. If you look after Undertaker, actually, though, you've got other guys like Bret Hart who held it after Undertaker. Shawn Michaels, of course, are already in the Hall of Fame. Eddie Guerrero as well. Edge. I think after you look at Undertaker, the only other guy for quite a while is Sid Vicious, who's not in the WWE Hall of Fame. So, not sure if Stan the Man Stasiak actually had a WWE Hall of Fame career, but I know Ivan Koloff did. Ivan Koloff, of course, ended Bruno Sammartino's reign, as well as going on to a very successful reign in the NWA as Uncle Ivan to Nikita Koloff, Crusher Khrushchev. Lots of tag team titles as well in the NWA. So hopefully Ivan Koloff will get in there sooner than later as well. Let me roll right into our WrestleMania talk here. As we talked last night immediately after WrestleMania ended. I've been able to take a deep breath since then and really think about WrestleMania. I actually got to watch the tag team match. Phenomenal tag team match. For the kickoff show, the 4-way tag, just amazing. Just absolutely amazing. Thoroughly enjoyed the match. It seemed like it was a spot fest. It was, I would even classify it almost like a Lucha Libre type of spot, except for all the spots made sense. They all fit well. There were some power move spots. The tag team match, man, was it the show stealer? It could have been, it might have been the show stealer of the night. I'm thinking here, it might actually, yeah, I think it is. I think it's my favorite match of the night. So I was glad I finally got to watch that this afternoon, actually about 10 minutes ago. Going through the card, again, like I touched on last night, and you'll see earlier in this episode, Andre the Giant Battle Royal, Big Show winning it. I'm really happy that Big Show did win it. Hopefully they don't do anything else with it. It's over. Big Show go back into hibernation for a while. The Randy Orton Seth Rollins match, really cool spot with the curb stomp. Again, I watched that. It wasn't the match I thought it was going to be. I really thought that this match potentially had the opportunity to steal the entire show of WrestleMania. It did not, but it did do some really good things for the match. It also has continued that story on a little bit to where now that Seth Rollins has cashed in and won the championship, Randy Orton is an obvious choice in there to get a title match because he did defeat him the same night. Triple H and Sting, a good match. Sting looked better than I had seen him since WCW, and granted, I didn't watch him in TNA. I haven't lost any bets where I have to watch TNA, but the match was cool. It was fun. The DX invasion with it, the NWO part. That was fun as well. I was surprised to see Scott Hall taking the bumps he took. Kevin Nash as well. I thought for sure Kevin Nash was hurt. I think it was X-Pac that jumped on him or whatever, and I saw him grab his leg, and I was like, oh my God, please tell me he did not rip his ACL again. But thankfully it looks like Nash is okay. He walked out later on for the Hall of Fame ceremony. Do I like the ending of the match? I like the way it ended with Triple H hitting Sting and cheating the win. But did that shot knock the sense out of Sting? I know we've always made fun of Sting for not being the smartest wrestler. He fell for a Four Horsemen thing before. He's done, countless really weird things in his career, and this, I guess, just goes along with it. Why did he shake Triple H's hand? I don't know. And I guess the other issue is this just, again, it had Triple H beating the WCW guy, just like we said earlier for predictions. Scott Steiner came over from WCW and he lost. He got fed to Triple H and lost. Booker T, same thing. Goldberg, same thing. And Sting, Kevin Nash, of course, before that. So Sting, he gets fed to Triple H, and now that he's lost to Triple H, now I guess he can go do something, better. Brock Lesnar had to do the same thing when he came back from UFC. He got fed to Triple H. Triple H beat him. And then all of a sudden, now Brock is, this uncontrollable animal. The women's tag team match, decent match. AJ surprised me that she wasn't in the match more. She, really was out on, the floor the majority of the time, almost like she was taking a nap. So, it is what it is. I was glad to see the women almost got 10 minutes worth of Mania time, where, in the past, their matches have actually been scrapped for time restraints. But, it was good to see that out there. The Bellas looked good. I admit it. The Bellas looked good out there in the match as well. Paige, of course, is absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, that was a good match as well. John Cena versus Rusev, very fun match. I like the way it was set up. Lana looked just like the Rocky girl from Rocky 4. Looked just like was it Bridget Nielsen? Came down the ring, same thing. It reminded me of that. I was really expecting more because I had heard something earlier. They were hiring soldiers, Russian soldiers, and I was expecting that whole I guess that Eminem intro that John Cena had done where they'd all dressed like Cena or whatever. But it was cool. It was a nice intro. The tank was really fun as well. The match back and forth. I can't fathom how wrestling fans were still booing John Cena. This was the United States versus Russia, and the fan support was still, a lot of anti-Cena, and then, of course, on the internet, they're blowing up that, oh, Cena beat, another young guy, and blah, 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 blah. It's not about the wins and losses here, people. It's the story that's being told, and John Cena tells a good story. Do I like everything he does in the ring? No. Did I like that stunner from the second rope? Yeah, that was pretty cool. Does he talk too much in the ring to where you can hear it on the camera? Yes, very much. But I think if you took that away, and maybe if I wasn't listening to it or listening for it, then I'd really enjoy John Cena more. But this match I did enjoy. There's a good story. The shoes being thrown in the ring didn't make much sense, but I guess it did after she got bumped off the apron because she probably would have broken her ankle. But I'm interested to see now what John Cena does with the United States Championship. I'm interested to see what Rusev does with the Lana storyline. I just realized I skipped the ladder match with the other championship with Daniel Bryan winning the ladder match. That was a good match. And I guess I'll wait till the championship match to really get into my next train of thought. The Rock and Ronda Rousey coming out, I thought that was pretty cool. Nice WrestleMania moment, and I think it set something up for WrestleMania 32. WrestleMania 32, I see The Rock versus Triple H, and I think that's the way it should be. I don't think there's any reason for The Rock to come back and wrestle one of the younger guys. I think that time is over. He's faced Hulk Hogan, so he's faced somebody from the past. He faced John Cena, somebody from the present. So there's really no more reasons for Rock to come in and do that. And at the same time, I don't see a reason, a lot of rumors going around with Stone Cold coming back. I don't see any reason for Stone Cold to come back and wrestle one of the newer guys either, because it's already been done. This generation has already been tested by the Attitude Era generation. So there's no need to do any more of those matches. If Stone Cold comes back, I'd like to see Stone Cold versus The Rock. I'd like to see Stone Cold versus maybe Triple H. Stone Cold versus Shawn Michaels. I want to see, if Stone Cold comes back, I want to see him in a retro match. If he went against somebody now, it would have to be CM Punk. I know we don't say that name very much. But yeah, if Stone Cold comes back, I think it needs to be against somebody of his own generation or against somebody like CM Punk. There's no need for any more Attitude Era guys facing this new Reality Era guys. There's just not. The story's already been told. Rock already did it. It's done. It's over. Next match, Undertaker, Bray Wyatt. Man, did you ever think that you would wake up the day after WrestleMania and read Twitter and people be mad that The Undertaker won? Did you ever think that? Welcome to today's WWE society. Welcome to today's wrestling fan. And you know what? I'm not mad that The Undertaker won, but I think he should have lost. I really do think that Bray Wyatt should have had that match. I think that Bray should have won the match. He needed it more than Undertaker. So this is kind of where the card goes downhill for me. Up until this point, I would say WrestleMania is probably a solid 8.5 for entertainment, maybe even a 9. But from this point on, these last two matches destroyed the entire credibility and the entire story of the card. The Undertaker beating Bray Wyatt was not needed for The Undertaker, and it sure wasn't needed for Bray Wyatt. Bray should have won this match, in my opinion, because he could have built off of it. The Undertaker could have also built off of this win. Off of a loss, because next year in Texas, he could go to a match, retire, and win, go out with a bang, happy-go-lucky. But to me, with The Undertaker winning this match, it didn't need to happen. It shouldn't have happened. Yes, Undertaker looked better than he has in the past couple years. I think since he shaved his head and he did that mohawk thing, I think that partially made him look older than what he is. But the full head of hair looked a lot better on him. It made him look more like The Undertaker. It made him look a little bit younger than what he has with the mohawk deal. So he looked pretty good in the match. Again, like I said earlier, the spot where the backward spider thing that Bray does and Undertaker's sitting up, that was a really cool spot. But yeah, the fact that the writers, and I'm saying the writers because I don't think anybody would have booked it this way, the fact that the writers had the Undertaker come back and win against Bray Wyatt, I just think it was a wasted opportunity. And speaking of wasted opportunities, let's talk about the World Heavyweight Championship match. Right away, the match was not as bad as I thought it was going to be when it was Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. Obviously, Brock allowed Roman Reigns to punch him as hard as possible. He got some color on Brock, which was cool. It made Roman look strong. I heard some people complaining about Roman smiling. To me, the Roman smiling thing reminded me of Rocky IV again, where Rocky was getting beat up, and actually I think he did in Rocky III against Mr. T as well, where Rocky was taking all the punches and smiling and kept taunting and challenging him. I felt like that same way. I felt like that same thing Roman was doing. He was smiling and taunting Brock Lesnar to, come on, is that all you got? Is that all you got? So I think some people might have missed that, and obviously all the writers were watching Rocky IV as, we saw it in the Rusev match, and then now again in this match. So, I thought that was good. I thought Brock bleeding definitely made Brock look like he was actually human. Another Rocky reference. I am not the machine. He's not the machine, or whatever. So I thought that was cool too. The Seth Rollins cash in. Who needs rules, right? We don't abide by the 30-day rule. We don't abide by the Money in the Bank ladder match rule, where it's got to be an official match. From I guess start of an official match. So whatever. These writers that are writing for WWE now, they're really, you've got to study the past to not have the same mistakes. And these writers are not studying anything in the past. They're not studying any of the history of professional wrestling, and that upsets me. It upsets me that Vince McMahon is allowing that to happen. It upsets me that Triple H is allowing that to happen. These rules that were out there, the NWA, they're over the top rope. You got thrown over the top rope, you got disqualified. WWE, openly acknowledged that that's not one of their rules. The 30-day rule only works when they want it to work. To me, if the 30-day rule didn't matter, then Daniel Bryan could still be the WWE champion, because he would not have to give up the World Heavyweight Championship when he got injured. He could just sit aside and just wait. So I really think the consistency needs to be there a little bit more. And I know these guys are Hollywood writers. If you read the WWE website, they're looking for, they're looking for sitcom writers. And ladies and gentlemen, this is not a sitcom. It's WWE Sports Entertainment Professional Wrestling. And there has to be consistency in the story. And I would challenge WWE, instead of hiring sitcom writers, why not get comic book writers? Because comic book writers live in that code. They live with the consistency of their characters. They study their characters' past in most cases, and then draw upon that to create new stories. So WWE, instead of hiring sitcom writers, I would say hire comic book writers, because they're going to respect the craft, they're going to respect professional wrestling, they're going to respect the fans more than what your current sitcom writers are. But that's my WrestleMania review, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching Rocky Top Wrestling Drunken Wrestling Review, as we are here back in Tennessee, back here producing in our own studio. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed WrestleMania. My final take on WrestleMania, if I had to rank it 1 to 5, I'm going to rank it 1 to 5. I'm going to say WrestleMania up until the last two matches was a strong 4. After I watched those last two matches, I would say it's dropped down to about a 2, 2.5. So there we are, WrestleMania 31. I'd say go ahead and watch it all the way up until those last two matches, and then throw those last two matches away. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next week. Thanks again for watching Rocky Top Wrestling Drunken Wrestling Review.